Hey guys, what is going on? I hope you all are doing well today. My name is Elliot. Welcome back to the Fragrance Well. Today's topic of discussion in the fragrance sphere is fruity fragrances. Fragrances that feature fruits fully or to some degree throughout the life of the fragrance. We're going to talk about 8 of them right now. All right, so let's get started. So let's make it clear right now that fruity fragrances, most guys probably think of those being feminine scents. That's not necessarily the case because it just depends on how the fruits are used in the fragrance. Just like a number of things, fruits can be used in a variety of ways. And also, I'm not considering citrus as a part of the fruity fragrance family. I think most people would separate citrus from fruits, being that they have a lot more acidity, a lot more sharpness to them in the real world. And when you think about fruits and citrus, you tend to differentiate them, even though they all are fruits. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get it started. First one from Aqua de Parma. This is Fecal di Amalfi. Aqua de Parma's Fecal di Amalfi. This one primarily is going to feature the note of fig. In this one we have grapefruit, bergamot, Italian lemon, fig nectar, jasmine, pink pepper, cedarwood, figwood, and benzoin. So once again, this one is all about fig. It has a wateriness to it. It is very citric. It has a little bit of a floral and woodsy undertone, but it pretty much is fig throughout the life of the fragrance. So this one features one fruit in particular. If you've ever had fig in real life, it is a very creamy and sensual fruit. This one does capture some of that creaminess. I wouldn't necessarily call this a sensual fragrance. It's not so much a sexy fragrance as much as it is a refreshing fragrance. Yeah, that's all I can really say about this one, man. It's a fig fragrance. From the house of Aqua de Parma, once again, this is Fecal di Amalfi. All right, and the next one's coming from the house of Carolina Herrera. This is Chic for Men. Carolina Herrera's Chic for Men. A little bit of an older fragrance, but not necessarily a dated one. The thing about this one is it does feature fruit, particularly in the opening, but more so has a supporting cast of spices and woods. Once that fruit kind of dies down, it's not as much of a fruity fragrance, but it does kind of capture the same kind of vibe that the fruit in the opening gives throughout the life of the fragrance, in my opinion. This one features watermelon, cardamom, lemon, bergamot, orange, cinnamon, pepper, musk, sandalwood, amber, tonka bean, and cedar. So as you heard from that note breakdown, the primary fruit in this is watermelon. The watermelon is very nice in the opening of this. Watermelon, or melon in general, is not a note that's very often used in fragrances, but it is not a rare one either. To me, melon in general doesn't last that long in fragrances unless it's a very synthetic kind of molecule version emulating a melon accord. And although this one doesn't come off really photorealistic of what like a watermelon would smell like, it's not ridiculously artificial either. But it is a fragrance that does feature fruits at a key point in the fragrance, so that's why it's in this list, and it has a much more supporting cast than say a Fecal di Amalfi does. Once again, this is Chic for Men by Carolina Herrera. All right, and moving on back to one that is undoubtedly fruity throughout the life of the fragrance. From the house of Tom Ford, this is Bitter Peach. Tom Ford's Bitter Peach, I think you can guess what this one is all about. All about peach with some booziness to it, some obviously fruitiness, and also even has a little bit of smokiness to it. This one features wild peach, blood orange, cardamom, heliotrope, rum absolute, cognac, divana, jasmine, sandalwood, tonka bean, vanilla, benzoin, cashmerean, patchouli, labdanum, and styrax. It's fruity, it's sweet, it's boozy, it's a fun, kind of sexy fragrance. You definitely get the peach from the start to the finish of this fragrance. Has a little bit of a fizziness off the top too, so a little bit of an effervescence to it. Yeah, really good fragrance from the house of Tom Ford. Lost Cherry is also another good one that also features the note of cherry. If this one isn't fruity, then I don't know what it is. From the house of Tom Ford, this is Bitter Peach. All right, and we're moving on. The next one's coming from the house of Frank Olivier. This is Udvani. Frank Olivier's Udvani. Now you might be wondering what is fruity about this one. Well, it features a note of raspberry that gives a fruity vibe off the top, and it also has a similarity to another fragrance in this list that's coming later on that also has a lot of fruitiness to it. Featured notes are raspberry, orange, sandalwood, rose, cedarwood, patchouli, amyris, cardamom, geranium, labdanum, vanilla, benzoin, and cistus. So similar to Chic for Men, this one features fruit at a point in the fragrance, but it is not the core focus of the fragrance. It's more about really kind of a rose oud style fragrance, even though there is no oud in this. It is emulating the smell of an oud rose fragrance. But in the opening of this, you definitely can pick up that kind of raspberry fruity kind of accord with it. So it is a fruity fragrance, just not a featured fruity fragrance. Once again, this is Udvani from the house of Frank Olivier. All right, and speaking of that fragrance that shares a similarity to Udvani, this is Bond Number 9's Nomad. Bond Number 9 Nomad. So this is a rose and oud fragrance, but it features a lot of fruitiness to it. This one has pear, black currant, quince, rose, oud, vanilla, violet leaf, and amber. So when you smell this one, you definitely can pick up on the rose and oud vibe, but like I said, you definitely also get a lot of fruitiness from this, primarily coming from that pear and that quince. Very sweet fragrance to me. That fruitiness does kind of hang around for the life of the fragrance, although it's much more prominent in the opening. Although more so than Udvani and Chic for Men, this one is a fruity fragrance where the fruitiness is kind of prominent at a certain point of the fragrance, but throughout the life of it, it's not necessarily the star focus. But to me, this is definitely a fruity fragrance. Once again, Nomad from Bond Number 9. Okay, and the next one's coming from the house of Xerjoff. This is Herba Pura. Xerjoff Herba Pura. This one is classified as sweet and fruity. A lot of fruits in this. Doesn't necessarily, can't really pick out which fruits exactly, but I think I pick up some apple, there's some melon I think, maybe even a little bit of pear. Featured notes are bergamot, lemon, orange, fruity notes, white musk, amber, and bourbon vanilla. To me, this is a hot day fun fragrance. You definitely get the fruits throughout most of the life of the fragrance, except on maybe the core dry down where it's more like vanilla and musk. Does have more of a pop in the opening with the citrus, but the fruits are there right from Jump Street. There's no denying that this is a fruity fragrance as soon as you get your nose on it. Once again, from the house of Xerjoff, Herba Pura. Okay guys, and this next one is going to feature fruits in the form of dried fruits, coming from the house of Frappan. This is 1270. Frappan's 1270. Like I said, this one features dried fruit, so a little bit different from everything else that is on this list. Featured notes are candied bitter orange peel, prune, raisin, hazelnut, cocoa, tonka bean, coffee, spices, immortelle, grape blossom, pepper, linden tree, gaiac wood, precious woods, vanilla, and white honey. So you heard what the dried fruits are in that breakdown. You have prune, which is dried plums, and you have raisins, which are dried grapes. A lot of other stuff going on in here, so it's not just that, but you definitely pick up on that vibe with this fragrance. It is fruity, a little bit boozy, even though booze is not necessarily an accord in here. Lots of spices and also supported with sweetness like vanilla and honey. Beautiful fragrance from the house of Frappan. I really like this one. 1270. All right, guys, last but not least, this last one's coming from the house of Bond Number 9 also, and this is the Scent of Peace. Bond Number 9's The Scent of Peace. This one here is very fruity and fresh, primarily features pineapple and black currant as the fruity accords. Full note breakdown is bergamot, pineapple, juniper berry, black currant, cedarwood, vetiver, musk, moss, and patchouli. So again, there's fruitiness in this. It's also very fresh and it's very tart as well. So while the pineapple doesn't last that long as in terms of a lasting accord in this fragrance, the tartness does stay throughout the life of the fragrance. To me, I think that's primarily coming from the black currant. Yeah, very enjoyable fragrance to wear, very mass appealing, easy to wear, pretty much can wear it year round. And most importantly, features fruity notes like pineapple and black currant. Once again, this is the Scent of Peace from Bond Number 9. Okay guys, that is it. That's gonna do it for today's video. That was 8 fragrances that feature fruitiness. Thanks for watching to the end, and I hope you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Hope to see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Wheel, and have a great day.